Good evening, and thank all of you for being here tonight. I've reached that mysterious age in life where one of the first things they ask you when you go to the doctor is, have you fallen in the last 12 months? Only once. I'll begin tonight by introducing the Board of Trustees, and I think we're very well represented here tonight. I'd like for the members that are in attendance to please stand and be recognized. Outstanding. If I'm not mistaken, these people you all know, they really need no introduction, but if I'm not mistaken, David Freeman is the only one not here tonight, and he just wasn't able to be in town tonight. Attending, also facilitating in our meetings every month are Robin Thomason, Russ Cooper, and Bobby Harrington. And then Dr. Baker and or Jerry Giles are also in attendance at our meetings. Now I'll comment some more about the stained glass window project. Cathedral Crafts is the contractor, and this project began, this $1.2 million project began in January. Jim Pendleton from the trustees has spearheaded this project from the beginning, and he'll see it through to completion very well. You've seen already some of the things. Dr. Baker mentioned the schedule and the amount paid to date. Other things to note are that there's been no change orders to the contract, which means the work is progressing as expected. A couple of interesting findings so far. One is that the integrity of the frames of the north and east windows, the Irwin and Bodark side, these big Gothic frames were in much better condition than we anticipated they might be. That's a good thing. With their age and all, they were flexing more than they should, but overall they were in remarkable condition to be the age they are. Then another thing that's been uncovered is that, in prior work on these windows, there was some silicon sealant used between the windows and the wood, and it's been very labor intensive for Cathedral Crafts, as they've done a lot of hand scraping in order to get that off, because it will not accept paint, and their desire, and ours too, is to have this in excellent condition when it's all done, and so they have been at work on that when they're here. It's not unusual to see Eric, the president of the company here, up on a lift or working on the windows right alongside the crew. They have been outstanding to work with. They've been courteous and professional and very accommodating. Bobby Harrington has worked closely with them, and Russ Cooper has managed the contract. Of course, this entire project, as Dr. Baker's already said, is made possible by your generosity and the generosity of you and others in this church. Next, I'd like to talk to you about some other projects that the trustees have done in the last 12 months. You see them listed here, and these are projects that were funded by trustee-managed funds. Some of these funds are quite old, and typically there'll be funds that only the earnings can be used. They're restricted funds, and the earnings can be used to fund projects. In light of the fact that we were putting so much stress on the Eternal Flame Fund, we turned to the trustee-managed funds for these projects. I'll single out one for comment here, and that's the $97,000 to replace that 50-year-old fan coil unit for the nursery, the parlor, and the children's areas. If you visualize in your home, inside you have an air handler that delivers air throughout the house, heated or cooled air depending on the season. That's the function of this fan coil, and there are others of that age. The expected life expectancy of these units is somewhere between 25 and 30 years. So you see this one had more than paid for itself. We have more to deal with in that area. Next, you'll see the maintenance and services budget, which is $545,800 out of the church's annual operating budget of $4,424,000. And I've condensed a lot of the line items in that $345,800 figure to address two specific line items that I want to highlight. The first one is the $100,000 for general repairs. If you break that down, it averages $8,333 a month for routine repairs in a 145,000 square foot building. So it cost per square foot is pretty darn low. The downside is it doesn't go very far on larger projects like you just saw. After that, then I want to talk about the Deferred Maintenance Fund. This was established by the Finance Committee 2 years ago in recognition of the need to build the Eternal Flame Fund. And this too comes from the operating budget for the church, and it goes directly to the Eternal Flame Fund. So this is the second year for that $100,000 to come to the maintenance and services budget and into the Eternal Flame Fund. Now, if you will, visualize a pyramid and kind of put it in perspective of the various sources and their relative importance for paying for repairs. I've already mentioned the $100,000 general repairs fund that's in the budget. The trustee managed funds, which you saw, and currently the balance there is $202,790. That's the next level, and the one we really had to rely on a lot in the last 12 months. But next comes the Eternal Flame Fund, and in terms of relative importance, it's impossible for that to be overstated. It's extremely important to the trustees and to this church. And Dr. Baker mentioned the foundation in the future. I've got it shaded there because right now it's not accessible. It's just in the infancy. But as it grows, it will be the foundation for that pyramid. And the way the bylaws are, 50% of the foundation earnings, it's average earnings over the trailing 3 years, will go to maintenance at the discretion of the people in the church. It could go up to 80. There's an additional 80 or 30% that's discretionary. So that would be available too in the future. Looking ahead to tell you a little bit about what we're looking forward to as trustees, this progress we've made towards predictive and preventive maintenance is a key strategy for us. There's a spreadsheet that's just been updated that shows all the heating and air conditioning equipment throughout the building. These fan coils I mentioned, the air handlers, the ductwork, the insulation, all those things. The big project a couple of years ago for the chillers, cooling tower, compressors, those things, the two boilers, that's what we would refer to as a central plant. That's up on the 4th floor of the building. And that distributes chilled water and heated water to all these units throughout the building. There's quite a list of those, and we're at a level now going forward that we're working on units, addressing units that were installed in 1984. So there were some older than that, but some of these are big ticket items. We have a forecasting plan, two more plans that you see there, and these are near completion. We were very fortunate this summer to have a summer intern for the first time in facilities to work with Bobby Harrington. And whereas Bobby had these things underway, so often he would get on something just long enough to be called away to something more urgent. So this summer intern, a TJC student that's studying in the area of facilities management. So he was a perfect fit and did a lot of good for us. So as trustees, we're eager to apply these valuable planning tools as money is available. Hopefully this information has been useful to you, and if anyone has any questions or comments, please please see me after the program or anytime at your will. Thank you all for attending, and most of all, thank you for your continued support and your generosity. Now, Kevin Ferrier, as Dr. Baker said, is going to come up and talk to you about an initiative, a major initiative that the trustees are going to be addressing starting in September. Thank you.